All right, so let me just say this. When on another topic I just want to be sure I get in, is back in the 1950s when television first came out, there was the sense that we were bringing cinema to your home. So when they presented television shows, they wanted shows people would like and people were comfortable with. So they wanted to present things that were light and easy to appreciate and not offensive to people. Actors became classified as either a hot actor or a cold actor. The definition of hot and cold was if you're a hot actor, you're destined for movies. If you're a cold actor, you're destined for television. Um, Vincent Price, Edward G. Robinson, these were hot actors who you didn't want to bring their faces into television. You wanted to bring their faces onto the big screen. It was they were kind of deemed as a little too rough to be on people's television sets. Actors like Andy Griffith or Dick Van Dyke, these were people that were destined to be on television, and they were comfortable. They were they were the kind of people that were the networks were comfortable putting into people's homes. The sense was we're inviting these people into our homes. We want to make sure they're appreciable. Very few actors crossed those parameters. You were either a hot actor or a cold actor. There were actors who went from movies to television, but there were very few actors who went from television to movies. Um, I have a note to myself about Danny Kaye. Danny Kaye was one of the few actors who crossed mediums and could do both. He was acceptable in either one. Um, but generally, throughout the 1960s, you were either deemed a hot actor or a cold actor, and you had to figure out which side you were gonna play on. Um, uh, Harrison Ford, when he first got to Hollywood, got a couple of TV parts, but he thought, I don't want to do television. I want to do movies. And he was right. He held out until he became a movie star. Now, the break in this hot and cold system, there were a few people who did it in the 1960s, 1970s, but the real breaking point for the hot and cold system was Saturday Night Live. It was the original not ready for primetime players. They were the ones who broke the mold and went from television to movies. Uh, uh, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Bill Murray, and to a minor extent, Gilda Radner. Unfortunately, Gilda Radner's career was cut short by cancer, so she didn't quite make the splash on the big screen the way the others did. But these were the people who made it possible for television stars to become movie stars. Um, and especially Chevy Chase. I mean, Chevy Chase was everything in the 1980s. He was a top box office draw. Today we kind of look at Chevy Chase and think he's a dick, but he had a respectable career in the 80s. He was a hot commodity. In 19, I don't know what it was, 82 or whatever, they did Caddyshack. And Caddyshack was interesting. Caddyshack was a movie that had mostly television stars in it. If you look at the list of who's in that movie, it's Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, the guy from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Ted Knight. Um, it was a bunch of television stars making the migration to movies. Now, realistically, Caddyshack did not do well. It was not a great movie. It was not received well. But the thing was, Caddyshack came out at the exact same moment that VCRs and home rentals came along. And so people were looking for a movie to watch at home, and they were comfortable with these people. These were the people that they were comfortable having in their home. They'd grown accustomed to seeing these people in their home. So they got Caddyshack, and they brought it home to VCR, and they played it, and they thought it was funny in their home because these were actors they were accustomed to seeing on the television. So Caddyshack was not a brilliant movie, but it came out at just the right time to make a huge splash on our society. And it really launched the careers of a lot of people. And there's a scene in that movie with Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. Bill Murray was originally only brought in for 3 days as do a cameo, just to do a cameo on the set. He wasn't really supposed to be one of the main characters in the film. But what happened was Chevy Chase and Bill Murray were box office draw. And the reason the movie even got greenlit at all was the fact that Chevy Chase was going to be in it. They thought, well, if Chevy Chase is in it, then the producers were okay with it. But so when the production company back in Los Angeles saw the rushes, they called the people shooting the film in Florida and said, you don't have a scene between Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. These are your two box office draws. You have to have a scene with these two people in it. And so I don't recall if they kept Bill Murray an extra day or if they just squished something in real quick, but they have one scene in the movie with Bill Murray and Chevy Chase in it. But the thing about it was Chevy Chase and Bill Murray did not get along. These were two people. It had to do with Saturday Night Live, had to do with cocaine, had to do with the history of the two men. They just did not like each other. So there was a lot of fear on the day when they went to film this scene because they thought, what's going to happen when these two guys get in the same room together? But both Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd turned it on. Bill Murray and Chevy Chase. Both Bill Murray and Chevy Chase turned it on. They were complete professionals. They came in and they did the scene to the best of their professional abilities, and they were very gracious. They were very polite. And then when they were done, they went their separate ways and never spoke again. I don't know if they ever spoke again, but anyway, that's my little thing about Saturday Night Live. I could go on, but it's late and I would like to go home.